Welcome everybody. How you guys all doing tonight? We got a good show. It's gonna be great. Let's give a few minutes to make sure all the people that want to get in here get in here. Everybody gets a notification out there that the show has started. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Loving Society, Sheila, um, you guys, thumbs up, everybody. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, and we're gonna have a good show. Um, there, you know, Google has been working for over 4 years on a new operating system to replace Android. So that's why the title. It's not clickbait. Definitely, we definitely have some things to talk about when it comes to Android. I want you guys to be aware of the future, aware of what's going on. That's why you come to this channel. You come to me to find out my perspective on everything that's happening. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about my new phone too. We're gonna talk about my unlocked phone. I just got a new Yumidigi. I want to tell you how I like it, what I don't like about it. It is a what's called one of the rugged phones. It's waterproof, shockproof, dustproof, you name it, proof. Hopefully destroy proof. And I've dropped it on the cement a couple of times already, and it has not broken yet. So what's up, Jason? Molly, Tim? Got a couple more people showing up in here. So yeah, like I said, Google's been working on a new operating system for Android, and I'm going to explain to you some stuff, what you can possibly expect coming out in the near future. That's going to be changing things. When I say near future, I mean the next couple of years, right? We've got still a lot of Android devices out there. The actual Android devices that are being used, they won't just stop working. They're open source. They're going to continue working for a long time. So don't let that worry you. This isn't a doom and gloom show. I'm not trying to tell everybody, hey, you know what, the sky is falling. Android's about to turn off and you're not going to be able to use it. No, I'm not saying that. We got a lot of news to cover tonight, though, and I want to get into it. So, some of the first news I want to talk about right here is Ace Target's popular watched streaming app. Another app is getting attacked, and so you're seeing more apps constantly getting attacked, right? Out there for whether they're doing pirating or not. That's not for me to decide. I'm just reporting the news. I'm not condoning using any illegal apps. I'm just showing you what's going on out there. Ace targets popular watch streaming app add-ons in U.S. court. The popular watch streaming app is used by a large number of viewers to watch movies, TV shows, and live sports for free. However, global anti-piracy group Ace is taking action to undermine the user's experience, including by attempting to track down the operators of sites that form crucial parts of the extended watched infrastructure. So for those of you who don't use Watch, the app itself doesn't really give you anything. I haven't used it in forever. I just tried it out a long time ago. But it doesn't really give you anything out of the box. You have to actually input web information in order for it to get access to the content that you're able to watch with it. So it's more of a a media center, and you have to put in where it's going to get the media from, kind of deal, before it actually starts giving you media. In recent years, software applications that provide access to latest movies, TV shows, live TV, premium sports events have become increasingly popular. Most commonly available for Android, PC, iOS platforms, these tools often come pre-configured for piracy, meaning that when they're installed, the latest content is just a few clicks away. So a lot of these apps can either be legal or illegal depending on how you use them. I'm not, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to pretend to tell you what's illegal or legal on this particular channel. I'm just going to report to you what's actually going on. So that's about it. I am not telling you how to get stuff or circumvent any type of ways of getting legal TV. I have to say that to be able to make sure that my point is across, that I'm not trying to infringe on YouTube's policies, trying to do everything the correct way. Watched bundle availability at, well, there's the web address. I'm not going to tell you that address. It's on the screen there. You can look it up. You can go to Torrent Freak. You can watch what's going on with all kinds of these apps on Torrent Freak with all of the latest news. I wanted to talk about it though, but that is a new news development. Just the article was just yesterday, so I wanted to touch on that for a minute. I mean, a lot of people are going to be jumping on that news, talking about it, if they're not already. So there you go, latest information there. Okay, so architecture from Chinese exascale supercomputer proposed is 80,000 hybrid CPUs with 512-bit vector units. What does this mean? Wow. Well, I mean, I don't know. Can you trust these numbers from, China, which, they notoriously messed up the math when it comes to COVID? I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't I don't know about this stuff here. Anyway, just a supercomputer, supposed to be the biggest supercomputer that's being built in China. Wherever Sunway supercomputer is going to be cell-like CPUs with 512-bit vector units. Anytime there's any kind of new technology, it's always cool to look into what it is and how it's working and what it's doing. So whether it's in China or whether it's in the U.S. or whether it's in Germany or whatever country it might be, we always got to keep our eyes open to all the new technology. You never know where and when the newest big thing might come from. So always keep up with all of that kind of stuff out there. And some cool stuff. Yeah, I wonder if you mine Bitcoin with this thing. I wonder how much it could mine, right? How much can you make? You guys know Bitcoin is at an all-time high right now, right? $50,000 this week. Absolutely crazy. So I wonder if you could mine Bitcoin with a supercomputer like that, what it would actually, how much it would actually make. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. Android, as we know it is dead, but it's not going to go away. So Google has been working on a new operating system. That new operating system is definitely going to be something that's going to replace Android in the future. But most of our apps and most of our stuff is probably going to be ported over and still work. I'm going to talk about the newest update that goes along with what's going on with Android right now too. Is Android dead? On the face of it, Android has been a very successful operating system. Not only has it crushed most of the opposition to get to a position where it powers some 85% of new smartphones shipped, but it's also held up incredibly well against Apple's iOS. But Android is also dodged by problems that Google can't seem to solve, or at least can't seem to solve without taking drastic action. So in this article, he goes on to talk about a lot of the issues there. I probably should do a separate video really going over in detail what the new OS and is going to really give you. But basically, Android OS is run by a legacy Linux kernel, and this new OS is still kind of a little bit hush-hush about the details of it. It's got a very strange name, Fuchsia, Fuchsia. I don't know how to. I'm not very good at pronouncing names, but that is the name of the new operating system, whatever it is going to actually be. But they have been working on it for a number of years, about 4 years now. And I talked about this a few times on my channel over the years about the fact that the Android OS is going to be replaced by something else from Google. And really it stems from the history. Like, okay, so what's gone on with Google and Android is they've gotten hit with massive multi-billion-dollar lawsuits they've had to pay to, in Europe and so-called because of them, so it's so-called being an open source platform and them not really doing things the right way with some antitrust stuff and everything. So these kind of lawsuits, basically, Android has been getting sued. So what they have to do is they have to take basically full control over the new operating system in order to not have those same regulations proposed on them. So going forward in the future, you're going to see an operating system that's way more closed and more controlled by Google, and it might not be as open source. This may or may not be a good thing for us going forward when it comes to side-loading apps and loading apps from different app stores, depending on how they actually make the operating system as well. So we got to keep an eye on this going forward over the next few years. We got to keep an eye on what's happening. Of course, I'm keeping you on the cutting edge, on what's happening. This is a fairly new development that's happening in the market of phones and Android and Google. So could it end up being a failure? Well, lots of Google projects have been failures. We could see it be a failure and them having to backtrack back to Android. Things like that have happened in the future. Just look at the Chromecast. Look at Stadia now that they're dropping on their gaming. You can list the failures a mile long compared to the successes of Google. So it's hard to say exactly what will happen officially, really, with this new operating system they're talking about. So we may not see anything happen. This particular article is basically speaking to what might be the future. We don't really know. We just have to wait and see on all of that. But this information is good information for you guys to know and have yourself informed. Because do you really want to go out and buy that brand new, really expensive cell phone if it's not going to be supported by the next operating system, right? If it's not going to be updated, you're going to run a Google, Android OS right before they're going to release this new operating system, and then you end up with something that's obsolete very fast. So you got to be really careful about what you're buying out there on the market whenever you buy any electronics, whether it's phones, tablets, computers, etc. You have to know what's happening in the market, keep yourself informed so that you can be aware of all of that stuff going on. Let's go ahead and move on to this next article. So Google is still making its mysterious OS, and now it wants your help. So this was an article I found. It's been over 4 years since we first found out Google is developing the new operating system, and it's unique because it's not based on the Linux kernel. Instead, it uses a microkernel called Zircon. Okay, so this is more detailed information on this new operating system. It's also unique because despite being developed in the open on public browsable repositories, nobody really understands what the OS is for, and Google executives have been remarkably coy about it. So they haven't been telling us a lot about this particular new operating system that they're so-called bringing out, but we did find out, what the kernel's called, what's going on with it, a little bit about how it's being made. This is kind of backtracking from Google's original open source that they had on with Google Android, right? But also we can also see that if you followed some of the stuff I've talked about, we also have Microsoft who has bought GitHub. Microsoft's bought GitHub, and so in turn, they've owned that for quite a few years now. And Microsoft, there's a lot of rumors and a lot of talk that the next OS from Microsoft won't be based on the x86 platform. It won't be on that kernel either. Instead, they will be going to a Linux-based kernel. So they're going to be going to a Linux-based kernel, and Google's going to be moving away from a Linux-based kernel. It's hard to say exactly how and what's going to happen in the market, but this is why it's always good to be aware of what's happening, because a lot can happen in a very short amount of time, and if you haven't kept up on what's happening, you could be stuck buying something that then becomes worthless very, very quickly in the tech world. So always be aware of what's going on. We've had it pretty easy the last 10, 15 years or so. If you bought a Microsoft PC, you were pretty good the last 10 years mainly. You would still have a PC that's still got some usefulness, even if it's got Windows 7 on it. So there's a lot of, but now we're getting to a breaking point, I believe, where some major changes in the computer industry is going to happen, and we're going to see some stuff becomes majorly obsolete in a very short amount of time. So it's really important right now more than ever to be aware of what's happening with ARM, NVIDIA, the processors, the new processors being made by Apple in their new products that are ARM based. the new processor designs that are more compatible with Linux and more compatible you know, with these other operating systems. There's a lot going on that we really have to be aware of, so that we can buy the right product for us that's going to give us, you know, the right thing that we can keep for years down the road. You don't want to buy something and not have it for very long. Because the product could still be perfectly good and the hardware can be absolutely awesome and well made, but if the OS and the software becomes obsolete, the product becomes useless. So you got to make sure that you've got something that's going to keep you going. What we've got here is under the Android Authority. Google takes even more control over the OS, and this is what I was talking about a little bit ago, where Google has been hit with multi-billion-dollar, you know, that they've had to pay to countries because of what they've done as a business to not follow certain guidelines and rules of certain countries. Now, here's the thing. They've taken more control over the OS with updates for Android 12. That gives them the ability to do security updates and everything much better and much easier. So this is something that goes right in line with them wanting to have more control with the new operating system that they're trying to make that is not open source. So this is all very important, more important information for you to realize as well. The open source you know, platform for what Google's been doing, I think they're trying to phase that out. This is more information about that operating system. Bitcoin surpasses $50,000 for one Bitcoin this week. This is huge. So if you're not sure or don't understand what Bitcoin is or what cryptocurrencies are, really the easiest way I try to explain it is it's a currency based on the power of the internet. So Bitcoin basically derives its currency, what its currency is worth, from the power of the computers that are running, creating the Bitcoins. And there's only so many Bitcoins that can be created. So that's going to make the particular coins worth a lot, because they're going to be scarce. They can't just make more Bitcoin. However, there's a ton of other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is riddled with problems. Bitcoin takes a long time to do a transaction, to buy and sell Bitcoin. So this is an issue for people to want to do everyday transactions. Like if you want to buy a car or buy a house with Bitcoin, or it takes a while for you know, if you just wanted, I mean, that's one thing to do a big purchase, but you can wait a few days or a day or whatever it's going to take for a transaction. But if you want to go down to the store and buy a candy bar, or if you want to go buy, you know, a bottle of milk, you can't wait for that. You need quicker transactions. So different cryptocurrencies with better ability to deal with that particular thing are out there as well. What's going to happen in the crypto market is anyone's guess. It's like betting on the stock market. You just never know. It's kind of scary when you think about it. The internet is our most powerful thing in the world right now. And, you know, there is going to be currency based off of crypto and off the internet that will eventually be our primary currency that we use throughout the world, I believe. And I believe that might strengthen the economy of the world, because then countries will not necessarily be able to corrupt that currency as much. But we'll see what happens with cryptocurrency. I just wanted to touch on that because I plan on doing a series on cryptocurrencies and talking about different cryptos and talking about why they're better than others, and etc. Because I'm really getting more deep into the crypto game. You know, me and some friends are working on doing some major stuff in cryptocurrencies as far as investments and etc. So there is definitely a lot to talk about when it comes to that subject. Not going to linger on that too long tonight because that can get pretty boring. But my phone. So this is the new phone I bought, the UMADIGI Bison. It is a tough phone. And what I'll do here is, let's see if we can get to here. You guys can see the phone, right? Here it is. It's a pretty big phone, guys. This thing is thick. So it's charging right now. The screen is pretty nice. I do have to say, in my hand, it's not as comfortable as the rubber case that was on my old phone. However, this particular phone is, you know, got other nice features. You know, being waterproof and shockproof, and everything, especially today with, you know, the weather issues we're having. You want your phone to be able to hold up under harsh weather. This thing has a 5,000 mAh battery, 128 gigs, 6 gig of memory, and 128 gig storage came standard in it. I can actually put two cards in this, so I could actually do two phone numbers off one phone. 48 megapixel. It's got the Sony camera. It's got a wide angle camera. It's got a macro camera. So this thing has, you know, a lot of nice features. Obviously a fingerprint scanner on it. It's got two programmable buttons. So it's got a button on the side here, a button over here on this side. So I'm really happy. I'm actually really happy with this phone right now. My old phone was about the same performance, same memory, 128 gig. It ran the same processor. It was a Umidigi as well. And I dropped it on the corner, and the very corner had a crack in it. So it got dropped on the corner, and so it was still working fine, but I decided to buy a new phone. And so when I decided to buy a new phone, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try out this phone. The price was very reasonable. I actually got it for cheaper than the price you see on the screen that I was showing a second ago. There's the price on the screen there. And this isn't a paid promotion or anything. This is just what I bought for myself, guys. I got no affiliate link down there for you to buy this phone. If you do buy it, I recommend buying it on eBay and buying it from the seller that is called Umidigi US. So make sure you get it from the official Umidigi seller on eBay if you do buy it. They come within a couple of days. You do have to pay a fee to get it activated. My service is through T-Mobile. I activated mine for about $25. I called them and had it activated. That's what it took. I took the card out of my old phone, put it into this phone, called them up, and had them activate the phone. It was a pretty quick and easy process to go through. But some of the features on this phone actually are pretty cool. Like it's actually got a push-to-talk, separate button on the side for the push-to-talk feature if you wanted to use that. I haven't used that yet, but it does have the underwater camera, and as far as other features, it's got useful outdoor toolkit. So it's got a noise test, a compass, a flashlight, a bubble level, a magnifier, altimeter, an alarm, obviously, picture hanging feature, a protractor, a pedometer, speedometer, plumb bomb, and height measure. So these are all kinds of useful tools you can use, especially if you're a contractor or if you do any kind of your own handiwork at home. You will definitely make some good use of some of those features. That's one of the things that sold me on getting this particular phone. That and the rugged design, just something that I can not worry about. A 5,000 mAh battery. The battery capacity is really good. My old phone had a little larger battery capacity, and it was a little bit better on the battery. But this phone, I have to say, I'm not unhappy with the battery life. The battery life is fine, and it runs a processor that's a really good processor. It is a Helio processor that's right on par with the Snapdragons and so on out there. So you can actually get some pretty good performance out of this phone with all of the features that it has. They're definitely pretty cool. I look, and they're just making some noise. I'm looking at having some fun with this phone over the summer, and then go from there. I'm probably going to be switching my phone out fairly often, every 6 months to a year at least, to get a new phone. So if this phone, if it lasts me 6 months, that's probably going to be fine. Yeah, all the T-Mobile 4G LTE US bands, it's fully compatible with that. Metro. It will work with Metro as well. It'll work with a wide variety of services, and it's unlocked, and it's a lot cheaper than most of the phones you're going to, and better quality than the phones you're going to go buy in the store from Metro. This is all metal on the side here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's actual screws. When you look at the side of this phone, it's got actual screws, and this thing is just very, very, very nice, very solid, very well made, The audio quality is great. I haven't got anything bad to say about it so far. The screen is really good. It's got the Gorilla Glass screen on it. It's got the beveled sides so your fingers run off the sides very easy. Very smooth screen as far as, and very clear as far as everything goes on the screen. The screen's video quality and everything has been absolutely wonderful for the price. You got to look at the price you're paying for this quality. I mean, this is absolutely unreal. You can get a phone like this. I mean, I don't understand why you would pay $1,000 when you can buy this phone for this price and then end up paying monthly payments, or even $600. Some of the phones that are that price, I wouldn't do it. This phone for me, I caught it on sale. Okay, so it was $135. It was under $150 after tax. You can see it's $170 here, but you can catch them on sale sometimes. I bought mine on sale. So what I did was, after that, it was $25 to activate it. So it was about 170 something after activation. That was it for the phone. I didn't have to buy any extra cases. I didn't have to buy any extra screen protectors. Didn't have to buy anything for it. The phone's ready to go. So that's the other cool thing about it. Yeah, and $200, Jason, is not bad to pay. Recently bought a Pixel first gen for $99 new. It auto updated to Android 10. That's great. My Umidigi F1, which was the same specs as this phone when it comes to performance, and it was 128 gig. It only had 4 gig of memory, but it was the same Helio processor. My Umidigi F1 was only $100, brand new. So that you can find those phones brand new. If you don't want to get the rugged phone, you can actually pay $100 for a pretty decent phone as well, and it comes with the protective rubber casing and a protection on the screen right out of the box. Mine ended up messing up because I dropped it right on concrete. This phone I dropped on concrete by accident as well, the new phone, and didn't have any problems. I thought the screen would be scratched after it fell flat on the concrete, and I was like, oh man, this was like the same day I got it, and I picked it up, not a scratch on it. Everything still looked like brand new. So after that, I was like, well, it was well worth it in my mind, what I paid. It definitely can take some abuse. I will attest to it. I have ran water over it in the shower, watched some videos in the shower with it, just to see how it would do, under some abuse with water. Because I like to watch a lot of my YouTube shows in the morning, news and so on. So I pop on whatever I missed overnight. I try to pop on some videos while I'm, getting ready, shaving, brushing my teeth and everything in the bathroom. And so that is one thing that really got me, was the water, being waterproof, so that I'm not going to worry about it being in my bathroom. If I drop it, in the shower, or drops in the sink and gets water on it, it's not going to really hurt it. So. You know what? I like to keep, so like right now I've got a backup phone, right? This phone's going to get a little bit worn out, and in 6 months it's going to have some dents and scratches and whatever. What'll happen in 6 months is I'll probably make this phone my backup, and I'll get another phone. The other phone I've got has a crack in the corner. It still works, and it's my emergency backup if this phone dies. The old backup phone I had wasn't nearly as nice as these. It's just, let's see, I went through 2 phones last year. This is the first phone of this year. So there's a good chance by the end of the year I'll have a different phone. If this phone's still working good for me and I'm not having any problem with it, I probably won't end up buying a new phone. It just depends on if something's acting weird with it. So that's basically the only thing that will make me think about that. You got to understand, I use my phone a lot. So on the weekends I do DoorDash, and that's my part-time job. And so I'm getting in and out of the car with the phone, and unplugging and plugging it into charging. It's getting tossed around, dropped a lot, with coming in and out of my car, having to go in my pockets. it gets a lot more abuse than your average phone because I'm using it and like fully through a charge. When I'm on the weekend, I'm having to recharge that phone every day. I'm going through the entire charge because I'm constantly in the car with running the GPS, and obviously getting in and out of the car in in the elements, you know because I have to take it out in order to take pictures of the customer stuff. When I'm dropping food off, I can't leave it in the car. So it's just one of those things. It gets a lot of wear and tear. My phone isn't something that is. I'm not an average phone user. I heavily use my phone, and not just for that. During the week, constant, all the time, on in all my apps, whether it's Telegram or YouTube, or whether it's whether it's doing texting or making phone calls, answering people back, or dealing with apps like OfferUp, um, where I'm selling things, or eBay, constantly in and out of different apps. Pretty much all day, every day, I'm using the phone for all of those particular purposes. So it definitely gets worn out. If you do pay monthly and you buy an expensive phone from a provider, make sure you pay the extra for security, warranty, whatever extra that you need to pay, insurance, so that you can make sure you get it replaced if something happens to it. It's well worth it, because if you got an expensive phone, I wouldn't be without that particular thing. For me, I kind of like I just like the being the phones I get when I get an unlocked phone. I like that over getting the phones, because I can't get you can't buy a rugged phone. You can't buy one of these in the store. Like if you go to T-Mobile or Metro or any one of a number of other stores out there, they're not going to have a rugged phone in there. They're not going to have a phone designed like that has that basically has you might find a waterproof one, but you're not going to find a real rugged one that's actually got the specifications, because when this has the IP68 and IP69K rating. So when you get something with that rating, you're getting something that's got some pretty heavy duty stuff in it that's going to make it run really well. It's got water cooling for the processor too, by the way. So if you guys didn't know that, it's actually got a liquid cooled processor in it, and it flies through everything I try to do with it. I haven't had any issues with anything in it. The face unlock, the fingerprint scanner, everything works. Yeah, unlocked phones are definitely the way to go for me. I wouldn't have anything else other than a unlocked phone. Let's see, how are we doing tonight on time? What are we doing? We're at about half an hour. So let's see if anybody wants to jump in toward the end of the show here. I'm going to make a Google Meets. Let's see here. And I'm going to try to copy. Let's see. Detail. I'm going to copy the information in here for you guys. There we go. So if you guys can see that link, if you're able to go into Google Meets, you might be able to come on and say hi. Or if you have anything you want to add to anything I talked about tonight, please come on and voice your opinion. Let me know what you think about everything going on. Or if you know about some news that I didn't cover, obviously, and you want to let everybody know, go right ahead. And be no problems there. Let's see. Do that there. And Loving Society has an unlocked phone. Jason has an A55 unlocked. Yeah, so does it transmit on all of these signals? I answered that, but I also wanted to go back because honestly, what happened was when I got this Bison phone, I went down to the store and I was just going to pay them right in the store to activate it. You don't have to call them. You can actually go to the store. They went and put they put a card in this, right? So they put the card in it and they went to go activate it, and then they came back and said, "Well, it's not seeing the card. It's not compatible with our service." And I was like, yeah, it is. But I didn't want to argue with them in the store. So I said, that's fine. Just give me my phone. I took my phone. So I came home and I called and used my card and went ahead and activated it myself. Obviously, they had a defective. The girl took a brand new card out of the package. She tried to put it in the phone. Either she put it in wrong or she didn't, or it just was defective. I don't know. I did go back to the store to pay my main phone bill and let them know that the phone was compatible with their service, that they probably had a defective card or something. I told them I didn't know what they did wrong, but the phone definitely did work because I wanted them to know that it was compatible. So if somebody else brings in a phone like that, they know it will work. I don't know why they didn't get it to work, but that's basically their bad. I don't know. I don't know. There's two SIM card slots. You can use either one as long as but even at that, it doesn't matter. Even if the card isn't activated, the phone should come up and detect that the card is inserted. Okay, and they said it wasn't even detecting the card, so there was something very weird there. I think she was defective. I don't know. I don't know. I was not very happy that I had to come home and call and go through a whole bunch more trouble in order to get my phone activated when they should have been able to do it right then and there. I mean, for God's sake, I had already put my Google information in. I had already transferred everything over my apps. I had the phone ready to go. All of my contacts, my email. I mean, I had already transferred everything. Everything was done. The phone was ready to just activate and I could start using it. I had all my apps ready. Um, so yeah, I think she had a bad SIM card. I don't think it was her fault. I think what she should have done is done what I asked her to do. As I told her, just take the card out of my old phone and put it in this phone, which is what I did when I came home. Um, and she aleckly in a smart attitude said, "Oh yeah, we just want to try this one first to make sure it's going to work." Well, you have one that works right now in the same brand of phone, just a slightly different model that you can take out and put in my phone. You know that card is good, so just take that card, put it in my phone, and that's all they had to do. That's all they had to do. So anyway, you got to be you sometimes with some of these cell companies. I mean, they obviously they get some people in there that really maybe aren't the smartest bunch. Also, she argued with me a while back about when I switched my phones that I told her I wanted to keep the SIM card because the SIM card was holding some phone numbers on it. And she tried to argue with me and say that SIM cards don't hold the phone numbers, don't hold any phone numbers when they actually do. So, that was actually, something she should have known working in a cell phone, place. But, obviously that wasn't the case. Oof. Yeah. Well, that may have been part of it. I think it was more that she just didn't know what she was doing, to be honest with you. Yeah, most of the time, that's all you got to do is swap your SIM from phone to phone and just call them. They're usually going to charge you to activate the new phone, but the activation fee is usually like $20. Sometimes you can get it as cheap as 15. I complained to my provider one time and got it done for free. Uh, you know, so That's one of the bad things. If you have one of their official phones, you don't have to pay. You can actually activate it for free on their website usually. But when you buy an unlocked phone that's a brand that's not one of their phone official phones, then you're going to end up having to pay to activate it. That's one of the downsides. But I mean, you know, there's upsides and downsides to everything. So it's up to you to decide what kind of phone and what you want for yourself. This is obviously what I wanted. There's so many that you can buy that have so many different features. What's the right phone for one person might not be the right phone for another person. I have to say that if you're a person that doesn't use your phone all the time, this phone's probably not the right phone for you because it's really not that comfortable in your hand. It's fairly heavy and bulky. So that's some of the downsides to it. So I would recommend quite a few other phones that are, you know, lighter and better feeling in your hand instead of this phone, if that's the case. For me, with my work, with what I do, I purposely wanted something that, and I may end up using this phone for well over a year. So that just depends on the person and their needs. Everybody's got different needs as far as that goes. There's no best phone. there's no phone you can go out there and say that this is it. You don't need it. You don't need any other phone. Everybody's different. Some people just can't afford $1,000 phone or $1,500 phone or whatever, you know, those most expensive phones are that you look at, the newest Note and, you know, everything. Some people, but I think for most people, probably $150 to $200 is probably a pretty good budget for a phone. If most people should be able to afford that, right? I mean, with the cost of things today, you know, and if you get a year out of it, you know, that's probably good. Because looking at what they're trying to charge you monthly for phones, it's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I love Samsung's. I've had quite a few Samsung phones. I gotta say, I don't have any problem with them other than the fact that their flagship phones are just over the top price wise for me. Um, the other phones, unfortunately, they don't have a phone in the range that I would want. You look at their phones, and if you go to buy their phones, for instance, you know what? If we go to, for instance, if we go to Metro PCS and just look at their phones, right? Metro by T-Mobile. Unfortunately, when you go to phones and devices, cell phones, and we'll select filter by brand. Let's go ahead and find Samsung, right? They got 6 Samsung phones. Let's look at the Samsung phones they're offering. So you got the S20 FE 5G. So this is actually not a terrible deal for this phone, but let's go see what features it's got. So you're getting a triple 12 megapixel, 8 megapixel, 12 megapixel cameras, 32 megapixel front facing camera, 128 gig, 6 gig memory. So this is basically pretty similar specs to what the phone I just bought, which cost me like $170 outright instead of $440. You know, the cameras are really good and everything, and I've got a 48 megapixel camera. So I've got the macro lens. I've got a great camera system on there. So yeah, nothing wrong. This has a 4500 mAh battery. My phone has a 5000, so a little bit better battery. This may have a little bit better screen. I'm not sure about that. But if we look at other phones here, if you're looking at, I mean, this is $159, and you're not going to get this. This price is only if you're brand new to the service, right? You're not going to get this price on the A01, the A21. No, you're not going to get $0, right? So if we look at this one that's $160, 3000 mAh battery. The battery life is just stinks compared to the phone I just bought. And we're talking about roughly same price range, $159. Then you're looking at 13 megapixel, 2 megapixel. It's got worse camera, expandable to 512 meg. If we look at the rest of the specs, the storage is probably device specifications. Let's see how much storage they're giving you on this device. Mobile external memory up to 16 gig. 16 gig is all this thing's coming with. That's actually shitty. 16 gig is terrible. So if I wanted to go with a 32 gig, let's see, this one's like $260, right? This is actually quite a bit more than the phone I bought. Quite a bit more. Okay. 4,000 mAh battery. I got a 5,000 in the phone I bought. And if we go to device specifications, this phone has a 32 gig internal memory. That's just not enough. That's just not enough. In my opinion, in today's world, I think people should be getting 32 gig for a base phone and 64 gig for a middle rate phone, and you should get 128 gig on a flagship phone, and if not, up to 256 gig on a flagship phone. You know, should be a couple of versions of the flagship phone depending on how much memory you think you need. But 32 is just not enough. Not for me. Maybe enough to load most of the apps and so on, but you know, I mean, come on. So you're gonna buy that phone, then you're gonna put a card in it for extra memory, because you're gonna have to do that if you want to do any video recording, take a lot of pictures. So then you've got an extra expenditure on top of the cost of the phone. I don't have a card in mind at all. 128 gig is perfectly enough to do, you know, taking the pictures and video, whatever I want to do. Yeah, 32 gig is just not... The phone itself isn't a bad phone. These aren't terrible phones, but they really, really needed to build these. This should be 32 and this one should be 64, to be honest with you. This is what I mean by they don't have anything in the range that I want to buy. I want something that is going to give me a little bit more storage. That's why I spend, if you're going to buy, instead of these, you can go buy, and these aren't rugged, you can buy $100. For $100, you can get a phone that's going to rival these and have a 128 gig of RAM, 128 gig of storage, or at least 64 gig of storage. But the Umidigi F1 or the Power are two phones that are absolutely great phones that will just knock the socks off of these things. And not only that, these phones never come with a cover. They don't come with a screen protector. So you end up having to then spend more money on a cover and a screen protector. When you buy the unlocked phone, it has the cover, it has the screen protector, you're done. You don't have to go out spending more money on those type of things. So those are things they should be including with these phones, but the cell companies want to make more money off of you, selling you the upsell. The extras, you know, they want to make money off you with the extras. So anyway, yeah, just a little lesson on phones tonight, and hopefully it was, you know, good information for you guys. Hopefully that helps you to know a little bit more about buying a cell phone, what you should look at, and everything. But yeah, so the Umidigi. And the other phone, the phone I did have for quite a while, was this phone that I just switched from. So this was the Umidigi F1, and you can see this is $99.99, 120. This is a seller refurbished. I'm not really sure about this particular seller, but this gives you kind of an idea. $100 for this particular phone, and this phone was a great phone. It was fast. It wasn't very heavy in your hand. It came with a rubber cover in the box. Came with a protector on the screen. This says it's the last one of those, but there's more down here. Here's one, somebody selling a Umidigi F1 64 gig one. That's $100. But here's a 64 gig. So my recommendation is to try to get it from the official Umidigi seller that I bought mine from. So if you look, last one, $120. So see, when you start looking at that price, I paid $135 for the Bison. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it was definitely, I think, worth spending the little bit extra. And then when you look down here, so they start getting to $200, you know, so they start getting a little bit more pricey. But yeah, so I'll definitely keep my F1 that just has a very minor crack on the bottom of the screen, which really doesn't affect its usefulness at all. And I'll continue to use that phone for a backup probably for the rest of this year. All right, well, I'm out of here, guys. Hopefully you guys have a good night. I've had a good night. I'll be back again with more information for you at another future date, hopefully soon with some videos. I've been busy doing some painting. I've got new cabling coming in for my studio, for the Ethernet cabling that I'm working on rewiring, and I'm painting sound. I got soundproof stuff that I'm putting up. I've got lots of new stuff that I've gotten. I have to get the time to finish. I got tile to put up on part of my wall in an area as well. So I got a lot of things, making the studio look pretty, gonna get some RGB lighting as well, make it look nice so it's fun to do the videos and to have fun with you guys. Yeah, because I really do want to get more content out for you guys, but I have been busy doing a lot of work and on fixing up the studio before I actually like go full bore back into doing a lot of YouTube videos for you guys. All right, good night. Have a great one. I'll see you in the next video. Catch you.